everyone, my name is Jessica Whitaker. I am a photographer based out of New York City, and today's video is how I edit and organize out my Instagram feed. I am really excited to make this video. It's been super highly requested. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe. You can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Twitter. I have a free photography online Facebook group called Build and Bloom. Every reference that you need will be down in the description box below. This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Whether you need a domain, website, or an online store, you can make it with Squarespace. And let's hop on into it. All of the images that are taken on my feed with a DSLR, my Canon 5D Mark IV, are like 90% edited with my own preset packs, the Red Letter Days preset pack in particular. If you're interested in learning how I edit my own like professional photography photos, I'm gonna have my Red Letter Days tutorial linked down below. It's such a versatile pack, but this is not what we are here for. We are here to learn about how I edit on the iPhone photos. The first step is going to be planning out the kind of color palette you want to work with. My feed has a lot of like yellow, marigold yellow. It has a lot of pinks and a lot of blues. With that being said, that is my color palette, and so I try to make sure I position myself with a background that is either yellow, pink, blue, or a neutral tone, or I'm wearing a shirt or an outfit that it falls within that color scheme. You can't expect to be wearing like gray and standing in front of a gray wall and having that being able to throw a filter or a preset over that and somehow being able to make it brighter. Something I get asked a lot, especially when I did more consulting for fashion bloggers, is they wanted a specific preset over their feed to match other bloggers, but their photos, they weren't able to pull those same colors because those colors were not in the photo itself. So really think about that. Maybe when you're on a shoot, you're going to keep your eye out for more backdrops that fall within your color scheme. Okay, so we are now in the Visco app, and I just have a ton of random photos on here. I don't use it to plan out my feed. I'm actually gonna share with you what I use to plan out my feed, but I'm just gonna pick some photos and show you how I achieve a more bright, warm look. So let's start off with this photo of this latte. I'm gonna redo all the edits. Okay, so I have quite a few Instagram filters. My absolute favorite is A6 if I want something a little bit more moody and warm, but I also love the E series, specifically E3. E2 is great as well. Those are mainly the top 3 filters that I use on my Instagram feed. So for this photo, we are just gonna pop We're gonna use E3 because the cup itself is blue, and you can see it kind of gives it like this blue undertone. Then I'm just going to bring the contrast up. Perfect. One thing I really love about this app is it has the skin tone tint, and this just makes it either more magenta or more green. So I'm just going to make this a little bit more green, which I usually do on most of my photos. The other thing I'm going to add is a little bit of green. I personally, I love green and I love Visco green. I don't care what anyone says. I think it looks great, and as you can see, it's already a little bit brighter and a little bit more airy. However, you have to notice that I have the cup itself is that blue color, and then there's also that pop of marigold in it. Therefore, it's going to go with the rest of my feed because the colors are already in camera. I'm not painting over it or having there be this gray cup and expecting it to look more blue. This is a photo of myself. I'm in direct sunlight. I'm at the Melrose Market, and this is going to be a fantastic example. So what I'm going to do is hop on over to the E filters as well and kind of play around with what I think will look the best for this particular image. And I think E4. I'm gonna bring this down a little bit, and keep in mind though, like look at this door behind me, it's pink, I'm wearing blue, there's a lot of white, there's like that direct sunlight. I'm not relying on the filter to create a color palette for me, but I'm going to crop it into 4:5, which is Instagram's vertical crop. I always do vertical, and I always try to crop before I pop it into Instagram because I can kind of make this image then as big as I want. Let's see, let's do this crop, and then let's do a little bit more warmth. I love to add more warmth to the photos, and then if I feel like the photo looks too like magenta, I might bring the green up in the skin tone. Add a little bit of green on this. By a little I mean a lot. And there we go. So we have the before than after. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys how I edit one more photo using the e-filters. So this is a photo of myself. I'm literally wearing the same exact outfit because I love this shirt so much. I'm gonna scroll on over to the e-filters. I'm gonna play around with what I think looks best. I usually stay away from these more faded photos, more faded filters, but I think we're gonna go with E3. E3 is super blue and I'm wearing a lot of blue in this, and so it really brings it out. I'm going to crop it, but not too much because I still wanna get the palm trees in here. Perfect. Now, one thing I love is the Y skew. You can also do the X skew. The X skew is going to make lines become more straight and parallel, but in this photo of myself, I'm just going to slightly bring it up because the iPhone does kind of warp a little bit. In my head, I just want to be a little bit straighter, in my head a little bit larger. I know that sounds weird, but to me it looks a little bit more proportionate. Then I'm going to pop on over to the grain, add a little bit of grain, and then save it. I'll show you more what I mean about the Y skew in a full body image. Okay, so this is what I mean. We have this full body image of myself. What I'm gonna do is take the Y skew and bring it up slightly. Do you see how that just like lengthens? Not even lengthens, like this is how I look in real life, and it just adjusts the image. Think of it almost as lens distortion in Photoshop or Lightroom. Y skew it a little bit. I'm gonna crop it because I don't love all of the pavement. And then for this image, we're gonna just pop on a little light, a little bit of A6, but I wanna still keep it pretty magenta, so I'm gonna just bring the tint up and then add some grain. This is that Paul Frank wall in downtown LA, and I don't really wanna add too much of a filter where it's gonna change the color of that classic pink. But yeah, so that's a little tip that I love. I also though take my photos, full body photos, where the iPhone is held like lower and more aimed at my waist, so it makes my legs look longer because I'm actually really petite, but people are like, oh, how tall are you? 6'5"? I'm like, no, 5'3". Okay, let's do one more photo with a lot of like white in it and how I make it super bright with VSCO. So I'm just gonna pop on over. Ooh, these C filters do look kind of cute too. Sometimes I do experiment around with the C filters, but for this, we're going to stick with the E. So I'm gonna use E1. I'm gonna bring the exposure up quite a bit and then the contrast up as well. Maybe I'll Y skew this a little bit. This is so great too for buildings, y'all. I'll show you. Actually, yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. And then I'm just going to also sharpen this a bit. I do try to sharpen a lot of my photos, even like my DSLR ones with VSCO or the Instagram app to make them look extra crisp. You can also use the Y skew tool on buildings. I think it is so great because it really straightens things out. You know when you're like on the street and you're taking a photo of a building, but it's a little bit like more tapered at the front because you're tilting it up to get you're tilting your phone to get the full frame in it. Y skew is a great way to kind of flatten it out. Afterlight is also great if I want to add more saturation to an image. I do have to say I love Afterlight. This is especially good for more Instagram stories, as you can see. Just like adds a little bit of a pop, but I don't spend too much time in Afterlight, though it used to be one of my favorite apps. Okay, so we're gonna go on over into Unum, which is a free photo like feed planning app. I believe it's only available in the App Store for iPhone, but I'll have some free or like some other alternatives for Android devices down below. Unum is so great because you can import your photos, organize them for how it's going to look in your feed, but what's unique about this app is you can actually hide photos to see how it might look deleted, which I think is pretty cool. So it's a cool way, just a little free little resource to plan your feed. And as you can see, I try not to have the same kind of photo next to each other. Like I try not to have two photos that have a lot of white space next to each other. I try not to have two photos that are full body shots next to each other. I try to be strategic in how I plan it out. But this is just an awesome, awesome app. And oh, so this photo of myself, this was edited with my Red Letter Days preset pack, and I might run this through VSCO just to adjust the sharpening, but this is a photo that I don't really touch within VSCO. Same for this. This was edited with Friday, my Red Letter Days preset pack. This one, again, Red Letter Days. But any of these photos with the iPhone are all with VSCO filters, the ones that I kind of shared with y'all. So super, super easy. I definitely use Y-Skew on this photo of us. I gotta look tall, you know? My Instagram feed is very easy and it's quick for me to organize and quick for me to edit now that I have like a color palette done. And I think that's a huge like turning point for me when it came to my Instagram aesthetic, because then I knew what to look for, what to include, and what was gonna work and what didn't work. But I also try not to get too caught up in it. There's always Facetune if you wanna add more of color or adjust, like to make the whites cleaner, or if you wanna make some like jewelry stand out, maybe you're gonna add a sharpening brush over that. But for me, I mostly just use Visco, Unum, and then I do use Afterlight for some saturation, especially when it comes to like Facebook photos and Twitter photos. I hope that this video helped y'all out. What are your favorite Visco filters? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to explore more in Visco. Again, if you are interested in my Red Letter Days preset pack, I'm gonna have it linked down below. It's such a great versatile pack. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. I've been working with them for the past few months and I absolutely love them. I've been using them for a few years now on my own photography website, as well as Build and Bloom, my photography community website. They are an affordable, easy to use. They have amazing 24/7 customer support. They have beautiful designer templates and it's all in one platform. You guys can head to squarespace.com for your free trial. And when you are ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Jessica Whitaker to get 10% off of your first purchase of a website or a domain. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more photography, social media videos, tips, and tricks. I love y'all so much and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.